And we're live, everybody.
Oh yeah, I gotta set up a spoiler chat in the Patreon for people.
Oh boy.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, for all the people that need to use it.
All the people who care
All
about the
three
movie
people.
enough to want to see it, but also the people
I wasn't.
who...
I wasn't trying to give away how small the crowd was. Jeez.
People.
Oh
Okay,
well, I mean, I don't care. We'll be transparent, dude. No one likes us. Our audience sucks. Our channel is dying.
We have no money.
We've got no money.
We are
Purple is gonna be fired next week.
we have to let you go. I'm sorry, Purple. We're letting you go in
Why?
the order. We're letting
cutting that
people go in the
t-shirt.
order of the people we hate. So you're going first, and then it's gonna be I don't know.
Anyway, so this is our.
There we go. Let's leave that ominously. Let's leave it like. Oh, let's see. Dun, dun, dun.
This is our live stream where we're going to be talking about Thor Ragnarok, everybody. So I hope you guys are ready to go, ready to rock and roll, ready to like rumble, tumble, crumble,
Ragnarok and roll.
dumble, stumble, and take on the rags.
This movie Ragnarok.
You gotta rock your rags. Dang it, I was trying to make a joke like that, and yours was
I
better.
already kind of made it.
Yeah, but yours was better.
Wah, wah, wah.
No, it's like, is there any like
Guys, hold up. No. I gotta
okay.
talk about Thor Ragnaroks, all right. We started the stream 2 minutes ago. We already have one dislike.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh!
All right, which one of you punks did it?
Spoiler alert! It's just a DC fan.
Do you guys think it's like, I have to imagine there are people that are subscribed to our channel and have like the notification button clicked just so they're ready to dislike.
Oh, there
Of
has
course.
to be, right? There has
There
to
has
be.
to be, right?
They have to be out there. There's gotta like be those people who are
Someone.
like not wanting to.
gosh.
Yeah.
I want to talk to that person. I
That's
want
so
to.
sad.
No, it's not. It's very motivating.
Quite.
It means that there's purpose. You know, there's purpose in life. Anybody can have a purpose.
We're giving someone purpose. Someone's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I like. Oh, I feel
This
like giving
person
up
has
today.
something to wake up for every day.
He's like,
you know?
it's a new TTV video. I
I'm
gotta
really-
hate on it.
Must
I've been waiting all day.
That's a very happy person. Anyway, let's talk about Thor, everybody. Thor was
Is there
pretty
any
good.
structure at all we want to do with this? Like,
Nah, dude.
Nah, dude, come on. Let's just be casual. People like it when we're casual. That's a thing.
Well,
I
No, they
hear all the
don't.
time.
No, they don't. Did you look at the dislikes for the recent TTV podcast episode? No
Oh,
one likes
people.
it when we're
yeah.
casual.
Was it people
hate it.
People
want
like it if
deeply
you're
researched-
casual and have the same opinion as they do.
People want
That's what
deeply
they like.
researched, analytical, and completely like fair.
What did you guys even
factual
talk about? What was sorry,
Here's
we're gonna
the
talk about Thor.
extent of the conversation on the latest
Okay.
TTV podcast.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
I was
Let's hear it.
like, I'm hyped for Mario. The others were like, I'm not that hyped for Mario. And then we bantered about joking about how Nintendo sucks for. A few
Yeah, I
minutes.
messed with Nessa. I went on for. I think the conversation went on for like 10 minutes, and it
He
was
was
just me
like,
and
"Oh, you're
Takuma
the
ripping
fan
on Nintendo. You know, just joking about how Nintendo sucks, and people took that really,
They were
really
really-
serious.
They think that like everybody legitimately hates Nintendo, and they also hate me for liking Nintendo. And like,
I wanted to make a comment on that episode. I was like, we said Elves is written by Bionicle, and we didn't have this much salt in that video.
Anyway, Thor was
Anyhow.
good though.
Thor was great. Hopefully, no one's gonna get salty about that.
just a word to the wise for anybody
Oh, no,
watching.
no.
We will
I
be
got you.
talking about spoilers.
Yeah,
DC sucks. DC's awful. Batman v Superman was terrible. There's nothing
It's a
redeemable.
garbage
Wonder
movie
Woman
to-
sucked. I hated
I hope
Wonder
the
Woman.
franchise just crashes and burns the entirety of
I
it.
hate women.
Just reboot.
I do too.
All right,
Wow.
I'm glad this is a live stream. So if you ever become president one day, I'll be like, well, you know what Chris Dennings once said.
I mean, I hate
Chris
men.
Can.
Chris Can.
Chrissy.
What President Chris Can Jennings.
Did anybody see
Chris
Justice
King.
League trailer before Thor?
Yes.
Me.
What?
Yes.
Was
What
it
trailer?
missing scenes?
saw it.
Justice League.
Oh, the Justice League trailer.
They cut out a good 20 seconds of the footage on my trailer for some reason. They skipped like half of the song, and like where Flash is running around and like he does the
Oh,
leap
yeah.
with the sword. It was all gone.
I guess I didn't notice it because the trailers are just kind of awful. But yeah,
It was weird to me.
Try not to pay attention most of the
Yeah.
time. I just
You know,
wanted to
I
go with the
actually
show.
I do have one complaint about the Justice League trailers.
Yep.
That I realized now, as someone who is generally a fan of Marvel and not DC, I actually am not sure if I am in favor of the DC cinematic universe going lighter in tone.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure I want that to happen. I don't know if I want the characters to have witty banter back and forth. I feel like the one thing I will give DC, because I was thinking about this, the one thing I will give DC is that they're different, you know? And I feel like if I were to go into a Batman movie, or a Superman movie, I guess Batman's kind of whatever, but a Superman movie where it feels like a Marvel movie, but that character isn't in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that just seems like a waste of time.
No, 100%. It's like
I agree. It's a very fine line to walk because we don't want the tone to be the same, but we also like the purpose of banter between characters. To me, it's less about getting laughs and it's more about showing the relationship that people have. And like real people aren't always 100% serious with each other, especially not their friends. But I agree. There's a point where it can be taken too far. They might be going about
like for instance, Thor Ragnarok, for instance, is a movie that's very Marvel.
Yes,
very very
not
Marvel.
DC. Right.
And if DC made a movie like Thor Ragnarok, I don't know if I would enjoy it.
They tried to make Suicide Squad like Thor Ragnarok. I feel like that was the vibe they're trying to go for.
Yeah. Some kind of
Avengers.
I feel like I appreciate that. It's a positive towards DC. I appreciate that it's different. I can expect something different.
I think that the main thing of DC is that the reason why I'm not in favor of them going in a lighter tone just on not on principle, it's because it goes back to the whole thing about DC is that they don't know their characters and they're not trying to stay true to their characters. They're just trying to do what's popular. Oh, what people are doing cinematic universe? Let's do that. Oh, people don't like that. We're too serious. Oh, let's make everybody funny. Let's make Batman, super funny now. It's like, come on. Be true to your characters. That's what Marvel gets, and that's why they're doing so well. It's like this last Spider-Man's so good. It's why this Thor is so good.
But do you really think that Thor Ragnarok is true to the Thor character though?
The Thor character that's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I agree. I feel like he's true to the Cinematic Universe Thor, but like if you want to, but I feel like that's something that had to be built up over time.
Oh yeah. No, it's a balance.
It took them 3 movies before they actually got it right.
If you think about the way Marvel does the characters is they look at the character and then they decide what works and what doesn't work about that character. They remix it and they put it up on screen and then they adapt a bit more based on that actor's performance. So Drax in Guardians 1 is different from Drax in Guardians 2 because Drax in Guardians 1 is all the good parts about comics Drax. Drax in Guardians 2 is all that plus Dave Bautista's great acting and they played to his strengths for Guardians 2. Same thing with I think Thor is a character that works on some levels in Marvel and the comics and doesn't work on others, and sometimes he's really hard to relate to and stuff. And this Thor, Chris Hemsworth, makes him easier to relate to, and they played up those strengths. So it's that balance you walk between reinventing a character and stuff. It's that's what the whole Takua argument was kind of about, was how much you keep, how much you throw away, and how do you build on what you're doing as a new creator. I think Thor Ragnarok is a perfect example of that.
Okay. Did everybody like it?
I loved Thor.
I loved it, yeah. I thought it was really good.
Has everyone here watched all the Thor movies?
I had not seen either Thors beforehand.
Oh, this is your first one?
And I really enjoyed this one.
Interesting. You should watch Thor 2. I feel like it would be
sick viewing, dude.
There would be a lot of whiplash
if you want to.
Yeah,
I do.
It is
I saw a recap video that went through the summaries of the first 2 movies beforehand, and it just didn't come across as movies I was going to enjoy nearly as much compared to this one.
You'd be correct.
I think you'd be right.
It's just what? That's what Thor is?
They're not bad, but they are painfully average.
They're near comic
average.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, they're not bringing anything new to the table. They don't really have any thing that they want to say in particular. They're just very much, we need to make a movie so that we can introduce Thor.
To exist.
Yeah, exactly. They exist to exist, essentially.
The Marvel movies had a difficult job initially too, because they had to prove that they could just do a normal movie right before they felt the audience would trust them making a crazy movie. They would have never started with Guardians in Marvel. They had to start with Iron Man. They had to do a traditional story. And Captain America, First Avenger, and Thor are very kind of generic comic book movies. You have the main hero, the main villain. They do the origin story, and they play it out, and they do all that stuff. And Thor 2 was made in a era, I feel, where they still didn't really know what they were doing with Thor yet. The Captain America, they figured it out with Winter Soldier, and Winter Soldier is a very different film.
Thor 1, people were like, well, this is okay, but we want more Asgard. In Thor 2, they were like, all right, we'll give them more Asgard. But they didn't give any thought on how to actually make that entertaining. It was just like, visual spectacle.
Here's the bad thing about Thor, is those characters. The other characters, like being on Earth, the supporting cast of characters, they're just kind of lame. Especially Jane Foster, who like only exists just to be like someone that is in trouble in Thor 2. That's her only. She's a damsel in distress, 100%.
Yup. But she saved the day with science.
She is also kind of like the key to Earth, though. Like she's the thing that connects Thor to Midgard.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why when
the Avengers, which is
she's not in this movie, so there's no Midgard. So yeah, but I don't know. I mean, like I feel like her role there's more to her role than just being damsel in distress. Like she does have a purpose outside of that.
But I mean, did you miss her in Thor 3?
No, I didn't miss her. No.
I completely forgot she existed, to be honest.
Well, it's one of my complaints about the movie. Like, I'll be honest, like really quick, like just Thor Ragnarok. I haven't felt this positively towards a Marvel movie since Civil War. Not knocking on Doctor Strange or Guardians 2 or Spider-Man. I loved every one of them, but I've typically had a lot of like nitpicky problems with those movies. Thor Ragnarok, I've thought about it. I have very few legitimate criticisms. One major one, however, is the Thor trilogy doesn't really exist.
Yeah, no,
they basically rebooted it, which is good because I don't want it to be like the first two. It's bad because it kind of makes me feel like it was wasted time. Like the first two movies were all about Thor and Jane, and now Jane's gone. So it's like, what was the point of anything?
See, it's hard for me because Thor 2 is definitely kind of an average movie. And but I don't hate it. There are things about it that I like. I think the first Thor is actually really good.
I think on second viewing, good too. Yeah.
Like going back and watching, I really like that movie. And I think there's things to like about Thor 2 as well. But you're right; they're different. They've basically rebooted the series, so it's like
they're all like individual movies. And all that.
It's difficult to quantify because like those movies don't really all tie together, except for the first two. They tie together, but in terms of like the Avengers, MCU cinematic universe kind of timeline, the Thor movies don't really have a lot of relevance to them either.
Nope.
Other than the first one, which introduced
When I did the
Thor.
MCU rewatch for Civil War, I skipped Incredible Hulk and the Thor movies because they didn't really matter too much. Now, if I went back and did another rewatch, I would want to skip them even more because so much time was spent building up Thor and Jane's relationship, and it's just hand-waved out of existence. Not that I mind, again, it's just kind of a thing.
It's kind of like a...
Even then, Thor 2 does still have the Infinity Stone, though.
True.
It's true.
It does still set things up.
When I'm looking for an Infinity War, I am going to watch all the movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
So when I do that, that binge. So.
Yeah, and
dedication right there.
And there are good things about it too, because like Prentice pointed out in the chat that the ending fight for the Dark World was also pretty good, and I agree. I think
fight,
Thor fighting against Malekith,
whatever his name is,
Malekith, yeah.
Elf guy.
Elf guy, yes. Thor fighting against Elf guy was actually pretty fun to watch. I thought that was a really good fight too. I think the actual Thor fighting, I think is actually better in Thor 2 than it was in Thor 3. So I don't know.
It's because like he does some cool stuff with the hammer, and he doesn't have the hammer this time. He's just like punching people.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
That's a big deal.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So like there's some really like cool tricks to do with the hammer, and like as they're phasing through in and out and it's falling Thor, that's really fun. And at the end of the movie, the fighting is Thor just being like, and he does a thunder punch, and that's like,
hiya!
Yeah.
That did look really cool, not gonna lie. Like just all the lighting.
Oh yeah, when he was like,
You guys, so major spoiler real quick, but I just gotta like, seeing things looking cool. I'm gonna point out something that doesn't look cool. Thor's missing eye looked weird to me.
It did.
It looked weird.
I wasn't expecting like that entire area to go like completely black or whatever. Like I guess it makes sense because like there'd be like blood everywhere and all that, but
it looked like makeup.
I thought he would get a lightning eye. That's what I thought.
A lightning?
What? Please elaborate.
Okay, all right. No, it's really simple. It's just his eye. You know how his other eye glows with the lightning. I thought it was gonna be like had his god power. It would restore like, but he would have like an eye that was just like charged up with lightning and stuff. It would be like Odin's all-seeing eye. The eye, sure. No, he's like
I mean, like Odin's all-seeing eye was an interesting way to describe it.
Right. Like the idea was that like, you know, Odin had this he had the power of his one eye, and I thought like, oh, Thor's going to have that. And that's why in the trailer when he jumps down, he has both eyes. I guess they just omitted that in post. They just added the ice thing.
Weird. Yeah.
So we know 100% it's not makeup because they did that scene in the trailer and he had both eyes. So that was CG'd onto him later.
I mean, it still could be makeup. They could have just CG'd an eye on to him in post.
Yeah.
Which one takes more effort?
Which one?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Shit, like either one's possible.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I felt like that the him losing the eye was really hokey. And it was one of those things that kind of stood out to me when I watched it. It was like, oh, he just lost his, because I kept expecting him to get the eye back. And the reason I was expecting him to get his eye back was because they didn't seem to really focus on it like it was a thing that was important.
It was very brushed to the
but
side.
he just lost his eye. So
he didn't even care.
He didn't even care. He wasn't reacting to it. He screamed for like a second and then it was kind of like over with and he just kind of went about his day. And it's like,
if they had made it, you know what's a big deal? When Civil War, when Bucky loses his arm, when Iron Man like he charges his arc reactor and it blasts his arm away, you know? That's a moment where like he's like Bucky's crawling for a second on the floor and he's like, very
like they
clear.
take a moment to be like, oh yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah,
That wasn't even like his actual arm.
Yeah, it wasn't even his actual arm. This was his freaking eye. He lost his eye, and like
it was just
and no one really like it was even a joke at one point. Someone was like, "Oh, you don't have an eye." I think it was Loki.
Yeah.
You look like your dad. You look like dad now, or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. It was just kind of like, okay, sure.
So that made me think that it wasn't a big deal and that he was going to get it back, right? But he didn't. So now I was kind of like, okay, well,
Sure.
interesting. Okay, I guess he just doesn't have an eye now. All right,
I guess he doesn't. That's just a thing now.
it was weird, and it
Good
didn't
job on not
like
spoiling it in the trailer, though.
Yeah, that's true. And the effect didn't even look good. It didn't look like he got his eye cut out of his head. It looked like there's just a black patch there.
Yeah, like he got slashed in the eye, though, so there should have been like some sort of a scar.
Like a scar, yeah. Or
He had an
something.
eye patch
Just
before the eye
conveniently,
patch.
the eye is gone.
Yeah, it was
Just
just
the eye
gone.
itself is gone. There's nothing else.
It was so hokey. It was weird.
It was kind
I
of.
appreciate it.
I
for
do
trying
like.
to get
I
some
like that
sort
they
of
did.
lasting
Some
impact.
crazy like character design change. You know, and
Yeah,
if
I do
you
too.
notice in the Infinity War poster, when I looked again, Thor is actually he's only facing one side, so his eye is not like showing towards the camera. The eye that got
Pretty well done.
cut.
Yeah.
Granted, you can't
very
really see his eye
clever.
patch in it, but that was clever, like foreshadowing or whatever.
Yeah.
Thor acts completely different. He's missing an eye. He's missing his hammer. He has a different haircut. He's basically a new character.
He is well. No,
Basically.
I don't think he's a different
Yeah,
character,
I'm
but
joking
he's.
around. He's the same thing.
With that said, like I guess the reason I was pointing out the eye is because, like, for me, that was the one moment where I felt like the plot, not the plot, but like the movie, I guess, was like the tone was a bit hindered by the fact that it was more of a comedy, and that stood out to me. But for the most part, the movie, I felt like the comedy was pretty well handled, and
Agreed,
I felt like
except for
so
one
good, dude.
it didn't mess
Oh
up
my God.
anything for me. Unlike Guardians 2, which also came out this year, where I felt like the comedy did mess up the plot for me.
Yeah.
So I felt like there was a good balance here. So
There was
and
one
that the
scene where I
that
felt
was the
like
one
the
moment that
comedy
stuck out.
stood out. The eye, I suppose. You're right. I do agree with that. One other thing, for me, and that was all throughout the movie. They're setting up this dynamic with the Hulk because he's like Bruce Banner's been gone for 2 years. He has no memory. He knows or he fears if the Hulk comes back again, then he's gonna basically die. He probably won't come back again. He fears that at least. So the moment when he realizes, all right, I kind of have to sacrifice myself here to help these dudes escape, and he jumps out of the ship, and then it's played.
That's
for
a
laughs.
comedy. Yeah, right.
He freaking
No,
slapped into the thing.
I thought that was really.
I thought it was
funny.
hilarious.
I thought it was
I
hilarious,
cracked
but I
Only
get you, Meso.
afterwards did I think about it. I was like, well, you know,
No, here's the
it
thing.
could've been made more impactful.
Honestly, I think here could have been the different like the flip side of that.
Well-
Had they had that conversation after the whole thing where they're in the ship and Bruce Banner's like, you know what? Yeah, maybe if the next time I turn into the Hulk, that might be it. And then it's like Infinity War, and it's like, oh, there we go. He's gonna he's gonna have to turn into the Hulk for Infinity War.
Here's why that didn't bother me, and I'm gonna bring bridges to other Marvel movies real quick.
All right.
Boy.
So in Guardians 2, there's a scene that I hated that completely took me out of the movie, and I couldn't stand it, and it ruined the movie for me essentially.
Wow.
It was when Star-Lord is fighting his dad at the very end of the movie.
Oh,
And in the middle of the fight, he transforms into Pac-Man. That ticked me off, and the reason it took me out of it was because it was a betrayal of the severity of what was happening. Right? This is not a moment for Star-Lord to turn into Pac-Man. Any reasonable person wouldn't do that in this fight.
What
it took me out of it.
into?
It doesn't matter. He wouldn't turn into Pac. He wouldn't make it a joke. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
In this scene for Hulk, Bruce Banner, he jumps out of the thing. The reason it didn't take me out of it, and why I thought it was funny, is the same reason why I think it was funny that Thor, when he was like giving his rallying speech, and he chucks the ball at the window, and instead of shattering the window, it bounces back and hits him in the face. That's funny because the character didn't intend for that to happen. So it doesn't take me out of the severity of the scene because it wasn't something that they intentionally went out of their way to do. He was trying to be heroic, and it kind of flubbed, And that's something that's realistic to me. That happens. Sometimes you screw things up. And it works because Bruce Banner has actually done that before. In Incredible Hulk, he jumps out of the helicopter and lands on the ground and becomes Hulk. And he was expecting that to happen again, and it didn't. And he smacked it to the ground and like snapped his neck or whatever.
Gosh, that was freaking hilarious.
That's a pretty good point.
And that's
Just
why that was funny.
Splatted too on his body were just so funny.
Yeah, it was really funny, and it made sense. It wasn't something like he didn't. The comedy didn't come out of the characters not taking the story seriously. That's why I felt like it worked.
Okay, I can get behind that. I understand that.
Same.
I still agree with Mesa that I think the idea of like Bruce Banner being like, hey, if I turn into the Hulk again, that might be it.
They had some really good character stuff with the Hulk that wasn't focused on as much as I would have thought. Like even when Bruce Banner came back, it was just jokes.
Well, I mean, and like that moment is like that's a big deal, and then like Banner kind of like the sacrifices himself at the end, and I feel like they could save it for Infinity War and do a very big plot point about like Banner being like, all right, guys, I know you guys need the Hulk to fight Thanos, but literally, I think I'm gonna die this next time. If I turn into Hulk, I'm no longer gonna be Bruce. And they're like, okay, well, maybe you can hold off or something. And then of course, at the end, he's going to turn into the Hulk. Yes. But, like, that's a good dramatic thing where he's, like, you can have, like, the entirety of Infinity War, like, Bruce Banner. The reason why the Hulk isn't wrecking things automatically is that Bruce is like, I don't know, guys. If you can handle this by yourself, I really, I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool.
That's a good point, man.
I think this isn't going to... It's not his last time as Banner, either.
Oh,
he'll have one more time before it's going to be, like, the big... If I change, I'm never coming back.
This is the biggest plot hole, though. The biggest plot hole.
Please don't.
This is my Thor's magic belt.
Oh boy!
RAGNAROK. But wait, no, the magic belt didn't even. Yeah, he didn't go back to the Earth to get the magic belt. Could have used that against Hela. Can you imagine? He's like, we got it.
It would have been.
But like they go through
the magic belt's important, dude. I think you're full of it, man.
Can you imagine? He's like, there's like a scene where he's like, all right, we're gonna go and face Hela. 1 second though, I need.
You know what's funny is that because of what the movie established, that magic belt might have been fake for all we know. Just like the Infinity Gauntlet.
I think the magic belt is fake. That's why they're okay with it being.
By the way, very
around.
well done with the fixing.
Oh yeah, I love that too. They're just like, oh, this is fake, and she knocked it down, and we're like, okay, there we go.
Cool, that makes sense.
All right, that makes sense now.
All right, what is your magic belt? What is the thing that you hate?
This is the magic belt. This is the thing I hate. He says when Bruce Banner, I can accept when Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk. That Bruce Banner usually buys stretchy pants. However, Bruce Banner is wearing Tony's pants, and he says they're tight. He's like, Tony wears these really tight. They're tight on him. Bruce Banner, how did they stretch out as the Hulk? Why?
I actually thought of that, like, at the end when it, like, had another shot of the Hulk.
That's interesting.
Wow,
Yeah, I didn't
his
think about
pants
that.
are intact.
Yeah, it's like they go out of their way to make a joke about how Tony wears his pants super tight.
Well,
and then there's like,
What if those weren't Tony's? I mean, because they weren't pants. What if he's just got really stretchy underwear?
Oh wait, no, I got it. Like
yeah.
in Marvel they have the what's it called? Unstable molecules, and like Tony his underwear is like, all right, I'm gonna make my underwear really like expansive.
Well, I mean, no,
No, it actually kind of makes sense because like
he's wearing Tony's pants, but he could still be wearing his Hulk underwear. I don't know.
That's true.
Maybe it stretches in and out.
no, the Mark Ruffalo is definitely naked in that scene where he was totally naked.
yeah, he was.
He was not wearing underwear. He was not wearing the Hulk underwear. Tony could have had the Hulk underwear. He could have just had a magic pair of Hulk
Yeah, to be
underwear.
fair, it was the Quinjet. I mean, I'm sure they've got like kind of something there.
Emergency Hulk underwear, you know?
Yeah,
No.
Tony's
No,
magic underwear.
here's the thing though. They don't have emergency Hulk clothes though for
Yeah, but
Banner.
they don't need
They-
clothes. He just needs underwear.
It's true.
He just needs some modesty. That's all.
He did not have modesty for that one scene. That was also hilarious. Where he could point at the Quinjet.
Oh yeah, the Hulk butt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, that was so
Oh, boy.
weird.
Hulk
What a
butt.
scene.
What a
what the fangirls really came to see. Forget shirtless
You know
Chris
what's
Hemsworth.
No.
It's the
I-
Hulk
I-
butt.
Wow.
It actually is funny because it's playing on like jokes from the comic community almost, because like jokes Hulk's sizes of things has always been a joke, right?
Right.
And I like that they played upon that in there. And also the another comic joke that they played on is Hulk versus Thor.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is one that's been
Dude,
like heavily
that part
debated.
where Hulk like bashes Thor all over the place, and Loki's like, "See, that's how it feels." That was so great.
That's so funny.
Loved it. Well,
Oh my god.
that was really funny, actually. My favorite part was actually when Loki realizes that the champion is Hulk, and he's like, I gotta get out of here.
I gotta get off this planet.
I gotta get off this planet.
Oh my god.
Actually, one thing that I liked was later when Hulk turns back into Bruce Banner, and then Thor talks about, "Oh yeah, we had a fight," and he's like, "Who won?" Like, "Oh, I did." Yeah, like
Well, see,
that's
that's the
right.
joke. That's the one that's playing in the comic stuff, because like it's been a heavily debated topic about whether Hulk is stronger than Thor or if Thor is stronger than Hulk for
Also, strongest Avenger.
strongest Avenger.
yeah,
Strongest
like
Avenger. Yeah.
for years now. It's been a debated topic, and if you look at like different like Marvel cartoons, like I think a recent
There's
Avengers
a-
cartoon had it.
Yeah.
Like Thor always ends up fighting Hulk, and even in older comics, Thor always ends up fighting Hulk, and there's never a winner. It's always undecided.
Right.
Oh my
So-
gosh.
I like that they continued that in this in the movie too. I thought that was really funny. Anyway,
Anyhow, people are in the who's it? Some people in the live studio audience are talking about how like the Hulk has stretched out of pants beforehand. That's fine. Like my suspension of disbelief applies to the
Just
fact
totally-
that the pants can stretch. It's when they make a joke about the pants being really tight on Banner, and I'm like,
specifically call
okay,
attention
yeah,
to it,
they can simply call attention to it, and I'm like, okay,
they
yeah,
call attention to the fact that he's not wearing stretchy pants.
right.
That's what it is. He's not wearing stretchy pants before he becomes Hulk. They make that apparent, and then yeah, there you go. So that's the problem.
Minor
Can
thing,
we
though.
talk about Hela?
Dude, oh my god.
I know everybody.
I
I have
Anyway.
been ranting and
Hela.
raving about Kate Blanchett ever since I saw that movie, but oh my god. Oh my
It
god.
was very cool.
She
I
did.
love Kate Blanchett.
She did a very good job.
I've just got such a crush on
I
her.
feel
I know it.
maybe a bit too cartoonish. That might be a controversial opinion.
I
Especially
liked
in the movie.
I liked that she wrecked everybody. Like
Same.
she was like
Oh my god, that beginning scene where she just takes on like an entire army by herself.
Pretty
not just the
effective.
army, like the actual main characters of Thor, where you're like, oh, the Warriors 3 and like all those guys, and she
The
literally
Warriors
just like
3
stabs
got
all of
murdered.
them. They got
They got
wrecked,
screwed up, yeah.
riggedy wrecked.
I
Sorry, never big plot point. I felt is that Sif is not mentioned anywhere in the film,
Yep.
which I thought was really interesting.
The actual reason is because she's filming something else right now. She couldn't be available. My conspiracy theory reason is because she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. twice. They've like written her out of the MCU.
In the TV universe, nope, no can do. Can't associate.
point, man. Once you're in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you never come back.
Yeah, right.
Shield.
She probably like she was like she went on like the Shield, and Feige's like, "You went to Pro, mother."
You're out.
I mean, we haven't seen Nick Fury in a while. I'm just saying.
It's true.
It's true.
That's true.
But yeah.
No, I think in regards to the cartoonish comment, I don't know. I felt like she was pretty in line with the rest of the movie. My only complaint about her was just the kind of exposition dump she had.
Yeah, she was there to like, right.
When she was talking to Executioner and like she destroys the painting on the roof and then just goes into this big like history lesson. It's like, okay, well, I mean,
It was
little,
pretty off.
little on the nose.
There was like a reason for that, which I had never given much thought to. Apparently, there was a lot of confusion in the Marvel community about the 9 realms ever since we got introduced to the cosmic MCU. Because they were like, well, what do the 9 realms mean? Because we know there's like a billion more planets and stuff, and like you can travel via spaceship to Asgard.
Right.
And then that way they explained it was the 9 territories controlled by
Asgard.
Odin, pretty much.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. That makes sense.
It makes sense.
Connected under his protection.
I just wish that information was given in a bit more of a natural way. I feel like the way they did it was really hokey.
Scourge was, I don't know, I didn't like Scourge or Executioner as much. I felt that he
Well,
was
I
like,
I
I felt
fine.
that as a character
I did
that
like
he was.
I did like the payoff with the guns at the end.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
He was like talking about him in the beginning, and then he
I
like,
do feel he was
Yes,
completely
and
unnecessary
truly.
since they could have written him out of the movie and nothing would have changed.
Yeah.
But I have to give some props, mainly for the acting, because he conveyed so much by saying so little.
Yeah.
Just in his facial expressions. Like, I do agree the character was kind of unnecessary, but he was cool. Died a very, very good death. He's completely
He
responsible
tried.
for saving everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was fine. I thought he served his purpose pretty well. So
He's
I liked him.
yeah. He was just a dude.
just a
Yeah.
dude.
And I appreciate that he wasn't like
Just a guy out of his depth trying to prove him
super evil. I don't know. I think the movie did a good job of handling its villains. I was saying this out of chat, but like or in chat out of recording that like when the news about this movie first surfaced, there are articles about how this movie was going to have like 5 villains, and I remember at the time being like, "What is this movie, and how the heck are they going to balance all of that?"
Yeah. They did pretty well.
And
Balanced it very well.
I'm very
Yeah.
surprised at how they were able to incorporate 5 different Thor comic book movies into this and actually have them work in a decent
Yeah.
narrative. And I felt like there are 2 main plots here. It's the Hela on Asgard plot, and then there is the Planet Hulk plot on this like
and
trash.
let's talk about the Grandmaster for 1 second,
Awesome.
because
That
man,
guy.
1 second, I just want to say like I'm happy with how they were able to balance between the 2. I think
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was very nice.
the Grandmaster, man, Jeff Goldblum killed it.
Nailed that.
He was so funny,
Really
dude. Oh my
so
God.
funny. Just his acting. Like, this guy is he's
so weird.
he's so eccentric and but the Grandmaster in the comics is just as like really weird as well. He's just like this dude, and he does these really weird games, back and forth, and he was in a lot of cartoons and comics in the past, but like this is the one I really felt got the idea of like I just love the idea that there's a master of the universe, and he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna have a little planet. We're gonna have a contest of champions here, and I'm also gonna be like, when he's playing the keyboard, when he's talking to Thor, and he's like, "What are you guys talking about?"
Oh, that's right.
It is imperative that we see him in the Collector on screen.
Honestly, for a second, I thought he was the Collector because they both have like that weird eye makeup or whatever. But
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and they also have got the lip thing, or like there's like a line going down their lip.
But just
Yeah.
signify
They are both
part of
masters.
it.
Like, they're both like one of the ancient masters. So like that. They're very important characters in the Marvel universe, and they have a lot of power. And I feel like that is like establishing that they are part of the same race almost.
Yeah.
A Celestials.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
did not actually know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's something that I found. I also thought it was kind of interesting. Well, this is the most. I have a theory about the Marvel universe. Okay, you know how all the aliens have their thing. All the aliens have their like. Yeah, I mean, they have like their like all the races, and they have like their one ability or something, or they just they look very different. They have all this stuff. I think the humans, we have a superpower. or we have an innate ability, and that is we have the best music in the entire galaxy. Like, nowhere is as good as music as we do. And we started beaming out like radio signals and stuff, like into space during the 80s, right? And so like that's all our pop music. So the farther out you go in space, the more they're receiving our signals just from the 80s, and that's why the farther you go in space, the more 80s you go. And like everyone listens to our music because there's no other good music.
Like when I first heard this, it sounds like you're making a joke, but it's actually a pretty cool theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this actually kind of.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's really cool.
Man,
Good explanation for that.
Works for me.
that's so cool.
Can we talk about Korg for a second? Because I swear to God,
Oh,
Oh my
Korg!
god.
That-
Is he the
that-
blue rock alien guy?
yeah.
I loved him. Yes. Oh my gosh.
He had some of the funniest lines in this movie. This movie had me crying like in laughter for like. And
It was so
I don't.
funny, man.
I've never experienced a comedy that has made me like die in laughter, and then die in laughter like 30 seconds later again. Like it's such rapid succession. It was crazy. Korg had one funny line. I'm laughing at it, and then as I'm recovering from it, he does another one, and I'm like, no, not again. It was so funny, especially at the end. I know. Yes, yeah, I do. Oh no, I don't. I know one. I remember one. It was at the very end. Both of these are at the very end. The one
where
I'm
he's
thinking
like
of.
carrying
Yeah,
the corpse. Me.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes, that was amazing.
Yes, that's it. That's the one. He's carrying the corpse, and he's like, "Oh, yeah,
Meek's
he's
dead."
dead. I stepped on him. I just kind of felt bad, so I was carrying him around." Hi, Meek, you're alive. Meek, you're alive. I was already laughing at the fact that he's carrying the corpse around, and then like as I'm recovering, he's like, "Meek, you're alive."
I like that line near the beginning where first introduced. He's like, "That's what Doug always used to say."
Yeah.
Never did.
And then, of course, as long as the foundation still stands, we can rebuild. We turn it into a safe haven for human and aliens alike.
And see,
Oh
the
my
best,
gosh.
the reason that was so funny to me too, that specifically that line is once again what I was talking about before about how the characters treating the story seriously. If you look in that scene, everyone else in that room is horrified at what they're watching, but Korg is just like, "Well, there's the foundation. There goes the foundation. I guess that's over with." And that was so funny. It was like humor at the expense of the main characters, and that was hilarious because the people that needed to take it seriously were still taking it seriously.
Right, and the people that didn't
Yep.
care, they
Didn't care. Yeah, it made
didn't care.
sense. I loved it. It was so
No,
funny.
totally. There's restrictions for there's guidelines for making comedic moments work, and Marvel does get the thing about Marvel too. Sometimes Marvel has like bathos a lot. I don't know if you guys heard of like that concept. Bathos is when you contrast a serious moment by making it like adding some sort of joke or like some levity. So you contrast it and you kind of make it ironically. You kind of like wink at the audience like, oh, this is supposed to be a serious moment, but like, oh, we know that it's a cliche and everything. And Marvel does this a lot to where they will almost, especially in the Avengers films, a lot of people dislike that because they would contrast important character moments with a bathos scene. I feel the Russo brothers do a better job of balancing that out. In Civil War,
Hands down.
I was really excited that the comedy was comedy and then the serious moments were serious. It is bathos, Bathos. Go on.
I'm
Yeah,
just
bathos.
replaying that foundation scene in my head again and laughing at it. It's so funny.
I'm seeing it again tonight. I'm gonna go with my friends and watch it a little late showing. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh,
I
man.
got a movie pass. You know what a movie pass is? Basically, you pay like $10 a month and you get to go to a movie every day. So,
Well, that's cool every day.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Every day.
How'd you pull that off?
$10 a month to
It's
go
a,
every
it's a,
day.
it's a subscription service.
I
You
think-
just- you can go.
Yeah,
it's like
I
a
think,
whole deal.
I think theaters offer that. Most
Yeah.
theaters do.
Most theaters
Or
offer
major,
this.
major theaters. I don't
it's
know if
a-
your theater offers it.
It's a subscription service that you go to online and you register with an app, and basically you go to a movie. You can go to any movie, 31 movies or 30 movies, depending on what month it is, every day. So, yeah. So every day I don't go though, I'm like kind of like wasting a movie. So that's why if my friends are like, "Hey, let's go see a movie," I'm like, "Sure, I'll do that."
All right then.
There we go.
I would think it would cost more than $10 a month.
It used to cost $30 a month, and then they dropped the price, and then everybody jumped on board with that. So all my friends have it now.
Okay.
Man.
Month to month.
I'm kind of glad my theater doesn't offer that because I would take advantage of it way too much. I would like popcorn would become like 90% of my diet, and that would
Now here's what you can do. You can also like buy tickets with your rewards card at the theater, and then you can get like free popcorn over time. So it's like actually, really cool.
What the heck?
Take advantage of it.
The best thing about Thor is how like it manages to have some of the funniest comedy, but also like I feel like a lot of Marvel movies, especially like solo movies, status quo is very effectively maintained, but not so with this movie. Thor as a character is completely different, and Asgard is gone.
Yeah, everything is different now. They completely destroyed the foundations of the past 2 Thor movies.
They even like
destroyed the foundations.
They even like Loki subtly had Loki take the Tesseract to set up Infinity War.
I thought that's how he got back onto, like, they showed the ship later on top of the giant ship. I literally did think that Loki went back to the ship. Like, they were like, oh, Loki's dead. And then he came in through the Tesseract. That's what I thought happened. But I guess, like, he flew the ship out and just, I either missed it or didn't show it.
Yeah, I didn't see it at all.
I think
that is why
I think he just ended up there.
Yeah.
I think Loki has the Tesseract, and Thanos found them because of that.
They do that for all the if you look at all the other Avenger movies though, at the end of the trilogy, they destroy what that character has. So Iron Man destroys all his suits, and his mansion's gone.
True, huh?
Captain America doesn't have his shield anymore. He gives up being Captain America, and I forget.
And he also doesn't have the Avengers anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't have the Avengers anymore. Yeah, the Avengers HQ is now completely like different. And then Thor, Asgard's gone, and the hammer's gone. He doesn't have his hammer anymore.
He also doesn't have back to Captain America. He also doesn't have like the U.S. on his side anymore. He's literally a fugitive.
He's that nomad now. There's a point
he's
in time
not
where he
Captain
was nomad.
America.
He is not Captain America.
That's interesting.
He's a war criminal.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is pretty cool.
Okay, so I also read this thing online where it's like each of the movies, they are about like a different theme, but they all tie in together. So Iron Man is about like how individuals are like dangerous and they need to be held accountable. And then Captain America is about how institutions are dangerous and need to be held accountable. And then Thor's about how family's dangerous and needs to be held accountable.
Nice.
And I thought, oh, that's actually really cool. That's like,
That's pretty cool.
I like it.
Another joke that I thought was really really funny is the very start where Doctor Strange shows up.
I want to talk about Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he sends Loki into the tunnel, and then you don't think about him for like 30 minutes, and then like when the conversation's over with, he falls down. He's like, "I have been falling for 30 minutes." I thought that was really funny.
That was great. And,
A lot of people are annoyed, like, why did Doctor Strange have more of a role in the movie? And I'm like, he wouldn't have had a place. He was perfectly utilized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's not his role.
The
He's
comedy
not
was
Asgard.
is great with him constantly teleporting and sloshing all the beer around.
I love
We're
Doctor
just so
Strange.
fascinated by it refilling itself.
Yeah, and then when like Thor summons his hammer,
The hammer?
you just hear like slamming in the distance, and then
That's
like
it, like all the
after like 30
crashing
seconds,
sounds.
he's like, "Sorry."
And it's an umbrella. That's an old comics
dude,
thing.
yeah!
When he was Donald Blake and he was like he was a
Donald
dude.
Blake umbrella.
Yeah, he
that
had like the
was-
thing.
Who the heck
Like-
is Donald Blake?
Okay, so in the original Thor comics,
OG
there was
Thor comics.
the OG Thor comics. There was a kind of stupid thing. You know how like every superhero has a secret identity, right?
Yes.
Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Well, for Thor, it was the same thing. Donald Blake was Thor, but it was like kind of a reverse where it's like he like had this. The way it worked was like Donald Blake was a normal dude. Actually, no,
He was a doctor.
Was it?
He was a doctor, and he
Yeah, he was a
felt like
doctor.
he was injured. He had a limp, and he had his cane, and he got like injured in this archaeological like incident or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And so he like basically found a thing that like if he slammed his cane on the ground, he would turn into the mighty Thor. And
Yeah.
then like that was his like secret identity and everything. And so Donald Blake was the main dude, and then he would like become Thor.
And I couldn't remember. Was it? So
Jane
was
Foster
Donald
was
Blake
also his
actually-
nurse.
Was Donald Blake actually Thor? And like
Yes.
he forgot? Yeah.
So
okay, that's what. It
here's what happened later on. Stan Lee and the other people writing Marvel realized that Donald Blake is a lame character and everyone hates him and no one really wants to do anything with him because he's like Thor is infinitely more interesting than Donald Blake. So they retconned it to where when Odin banished him, that wasn't part of the original comic, by the way. Odin banishing Thor was not part of the original origin story. When he banished Thor, though, Odin essentially said, "Hey, I'm going to put you in the mind of this mortal, and you're going to live a mortal life until you like become worthy again." Essentially,
Yeah.
And so that was like the whole thing. And
so the movie is really an oversimplification of that plot point.
It's interesting because like the whole thing about the hammer being like picking up if it's worthy, even though that was something in the comics, that wasn't how like people didn't go up to the hammer and try to pull it out like Excalibur or anything. It was Donald Blake's cane, and he would turn it into the hammer, and then he would just use the hammer.
Yeah,
I like it.
Just like a thing. Anyhow. Long story short, that's a backstory.
It's an umbrella.
It's an umbrella. But
when he's in his really Donald Blake form, it's an umbrella. When he's Thor, it's a hammer.
Because you can see when he turns into Thor, at the end he smacks the umbrella down and he turns into Thor, and I was like, yeah, he did it.
Yeah, it was a cool little like comic book nod.
I like it.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was a nice way of adapting that. I really liked it.
Yeah. I thought it was great too.
I felt like Odin's death was kind of weird.
Yeah, right?
Pretty much the whole thing surrounding following up on the Dark World was weird. Because they chose to, like, hand wave a lot of it. Like, we were always like, what happened to Odin? Did he die? Is he in a dungeon? He just, I guess, put a spell on him that he broke out of, but then decided to stay on Earth.
Well, what it was he broke out of it, but he realized he was dying.
Right.
So he just decided to stay.
Yeah, he decided to stay because like he was going to die regardless.
Yeah,
but well, I think the implication was that it was his attachment to his powers that was keeping him alive. But when Loki like cast him out and put that spell on him, he lost his ability to use his powers, and that kind of kickstarted his death.
He couldn't go into Odin sleep anymore, I guess, right? Because that was a whole deal. Like Odin was sleeping a lot more in Thor 1. That was like something they mentioned. But like, oh, the Odin sleep has been way deeper or whatever.
Yeah, so like Loki had basically inadvertently killed Odin, but he didn't mean to. Was the implication I had gotten from that?
Yeah.
True.
Oh, Anthony Hopkins.
And then
when Thor shows up,
dude, Anthony Hopkins playing Loki was really good. That was
what
very
a great acting. And also Matt Damon.
I didn't realize it was Matt Damon when I watched it.
You didn't realize it was Matt Damon?
Sort of looked like him, but I didn't really.
Matthew Damon from We Bought a Zoo.
Because that's his most popular movie that everybody knows him from.
Yes,
it's a joke from Sugar Pine 7.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wait, who did you play in Thor?
He was Loki, but like fake Loki in the play.
He was the play Loki.
Oh.
Did everyone in your theater laugh when like fake Loki appeared? Did you?
No.
No. Okay.
Not a single.
I had a pretty small audience for mine. So.
Mine was sold out. Like
it was weird because mine when I bought my tickets, it was sold out, right? But I guess people just didn't show up because like it was busy, but it wasn't nearly as like busy as
it was the weirdest thing for me. People were running late because like the trailers started, half the theater was empty. The trailers finished, still empty. The movie started 2 minutes in, and everybody like rushes in and fills out the rest of the theater. I'm like,
interesting.
What? You missed it the first 2 minutes.
Well, 'cause I did go at a weird time. I went at 9 o'clock. It wasn't the earliest showing, and it wasn't the latest showing. So I'm assuming like people bought tickets was like, oh crap, we're gonna be late, and they just went to a later showing or something. But I don't know.
I guess that makes sense.
It was kind of a small audience, but it was sold out when I bought the ticket, so that's all I got. I don't know.
I got the 7 o'clock showing, which was like pretty early. But man, it was packed, and it was packed of it's the crowd. I love going to movies on opening nights. I absolutely love it because you get the people who are like passionate about the movie, who care, and they know all the in jokes and they know when to laugh, and like the audience was so great for Thor 3. Everyone was laughing their heads up. They knew about Matt Damon, they knew about Luke Hemsworth, and stuff, and they're like it was just a really great crowd. And they laughed all the in jokes that like from the other Avengers movies, which I like. Which like for example, Sun's Getting Real Low, which was I love that they carried that into Thor.
That was cool. I also loved Thor's really goofy smile when he was trying to do it.
Yeah, you like that's his eyelashes too. Like,
that was really funny.
It makes sense because like all the Avengers, I'm assuming, were taught that's just how you calm down the Hulk, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna try it." But yeah, it doesn't work.
Speaking of that, actually reminds me. What do you guys think about Hulk's personality in this one? Because he was very different than the last two Avengers
Not
movies.
how I expected, but funny.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. He was like a big kid.
He was like a big,
really...
yeah, he was like a, yeah.
It was like
when he's like pouting. There's like, you know what? Earth does hit you, and he was like.
We call you the dumb Avenger.
My one complaint is that he knows words like smoldering, but not is.
Oh my god.
No,
that's true.
Like,
I actually love that because like I feel like that's Banner's brain still in there somewhere, and he's picking out words and like so the Hulk knows kind of some of the words from Banner, but not all of them.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I thought the Hulk had a very nice personality here, where it's like it felt like it was a pretty great like balance to all the other. I feel like they picked from the TV show that Hulk is always mopey in the other movies, and Hulk's just like, oh, I'm always sad or angry and everything. I don't have like this personality to him. Now they definitely made it more. Yeah, they played on that more by having him be just kind of like a big kid essentially.
Yeah.
True.
And like he was funny trying to describe his emotions. He's just like, I'm just always angry.
Yeah.
I'm just so angry. Also, Princess put in another great quote with when he jumped at Surtur at the end. He's like, "But big monster."
Yeah, like, under normal circumstances,
that was so funny.
You would smash.
Oh man.
Speaking of Surtur, very well done. I've read online that like comic-wise, he's actually like a threat level above Thanos. Like minus the gauntlet, obviously, but like he's a pretty big opponent in the comics. Yeah. Is that true? Number one, and do you think they can use him in the future?
Who?
Or is his role fulfilled because of Ragnarok?
He's always the guy behind Ragnarok. So
right.
The difference is, yes, he is a big threat like Thanos under the assumption that your goal is to save Asgard.
Now that that's over, his role is basically over too.
Well, the reason he doesn't feel like he's a big threat here is because the goal is to destroy Asgard. So like they're facilitating his role. But yes, yeah, with Asgard gone, basically that's cool. Kind of his whole point.
I was mainly wondering if he could ever show up because I see people online going like, well, when Thanos is over, where are we going to go from? And people are throwing out like Dormammu, who can be like a next level. Like
is a good
yeah,
one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Surtur maybe, but I guess if his role's over, then probably not.
Surtur is big if like I said, if you hear about Asgard, but like since it's not, then it doesn't matter.
Cool.
So.
Yeah. And I think like Thanos is only like he's the biggest threat right now because he wants to go to Earth to get those sweet gems and rip him out of Doctor Strange's necklace and Vision's head. So,
well, with that said though, Meso, one thing I actually liked about the movie is that the ending is pretty ambiguous as to who actually wins the fight between Hela and Surtur.
Oh yeah, she's totally not like
Hela's not dead, and I'm so glad.
She's not dead. I think they are both very much still in play.
And it's good because
if they're both dead.
Loki is the best. Loki's the best Thor, like the best Avengers villain, essentially. And I'm glad that he's still sticking around. But I'm glad they also introduced another villain that I'm interested in seeing again. There are a lot of villains in the Marvel universe I don't really care about.
Loki seriously as a villain like anymore.
Yeah, right.
Like because he's basically just a punching bag for laughs, but he still works well. It's just
when they're in Valkyrie's apartment and Thor tells him the story about how Loki transformed himself into a snake. And,
that's right. I can't believe I've gotten this long without mentioning Valkyrie.
Oh yeah,
I might be like, alone in this.
Dude, she was really cool.
She was awesome.
No, you're not alone in this at all. She was an amazing part of this.
She owned that role. She's like Marvel's Han Solo.
I thought she was okay.
I was like,
because she's you opened up this episode saying you hate women, Var, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but I love Hela though. Hela was like my favorite part of the movie, so I don't know, man. I feel like
You hate women except when you love them.
yeah, except when I
Go
love
on. I'm sorry.
Isn't that how it always is?
except when they're Kate Blanchett, in which case I love women. No, Valkyrie was okay. I thought she served the role fine, but like I don't know, I felt like she had some really cool visual scenes for sure, especially the
Valkyrie
flashback.
battle. Yeah,
The Valkyrie battle was like really, really awesome visually from a visual standpoint. But like in terms of her actual role to the plot, I felt like she kind of suffered a bit maybe from the tone because it's like, oh, there's this really big event that happened in her past that really screwed her over and made her become this alcoholic character, right? And now her journey is to overcome that and face the person that destroyed her life essentially.
Didn't
And
really get to finish that arc.
you never really got that. Yeah, I mean, she never even really fought
That's
Hela
true.
once. She was kind of in the ship the entire time. She destroyed a couple mooks. Didn't really have much to do in that infight, really, to be honest.
Huh,
So
that's a good point, actually. That is
That's
really good.
true.
yeah, so like she was fine, but I don't know. She felt kind of
The
forgotten.
the first moment where she like was all posing and then fell sideways off the ship, I was in love. Like,
yeah, I was
that
like,
was
yeah,
great.
that
Her
was great.
ship is so cool.
and then she used like the motion
gauntlets.
control.
She used that. She's
That was cool.
PlayStation.
That was
move.
cool.
That was really
Yeah,
cool.
that was cool.
PlayStation move.
My thing with that, she also wasn't really a convincing drunk to me. Like I feel like I was watching another review that I agreed with from Jeremy Johns, where he was like, she looks a little too
Put together to be drunk.
put together to be
Yeah.
this drunk character, you know? And I was like, I agree.
Maybe
That's
as
not-
guardians just don't get like human drunk.
Maybe.
as guardians, don't get human drunk. That's essentially the gods of getting drunk.
Yes.
Well, they can drink a lot more. To be fair.
I'm gonna give you until this. I'm done
Much
drinking.
more tolerance.
Talk to me.
I guess
And
that's
it's
true.
done. That it's done. I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. No, my favorite line of Valkyrie is when Thor's like, "Oh, I wanted to be one of you guys until I figured out you're only women. Not that there's anything wrong." And then he goes into the whole spiel at the end. He's like, "But you know, it's about time. It's about time."
Oh my god.
I felt like
It's
such a
a guy thing that's
I know,
Not
it's
in
like-
today's social situation.
When you're accidentally racist, you're like, oh wait, I didn't mean to be
No,
racist.
this is the
I mean,
this
there's
is the
nothing
reaction to
wrong
like
with-
Wonder Woman, where it's like, you know, like I feel like you know what, I really want to be Wonder Woman as a kid until, you know, like not that because she's a woman, but it's just, you know, it's about time we had a Wonder Woman movie. It's about time.
I am Thor, son of Odin.
No, and then he's like, oh, Sator, son of a, you're still
of a gun.
alive,
No, it's like,
son of a gun.
and then Valkyrie had the really cool fight with Loki, and like he was like messing with her head, and then she was like buds with the Hulk. It's like it was just a great dynamic.
Yeah, I did like her relationship with Hulk. I thought that was cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that was
really
cute.
great. It was like that was a great relationship that you don't see otherwise, because like Hulk has different relationships with everyone else in the Avengers, but Valkyrie is almost like this babysitter or big sister kind of vibe.
Yeah,
you know?
lady.
And yeah.
I like that they played that up too. Like after he becomes Bruce Banner, how they still like they're still kind of buddy, but in like a
Yeah,
different
they're
way.
like,
And they're
I
like,
think
I
I
feel
know
like
you.
I've
I know
seen
you,
you.
yeah,
I know you. And like they like each other still.
Yeah.
They still have that bond even after that. Like that change happens.
Right.
It's really cool.
Awesome. I will agree, she didn't really get to complete her arc, but like I just gotta call it out because like since they ditched all of Thor's side characters, pretty much, I'm
She
glad
kind of
there
did
are
feel
new
like
ones.
Sif substitute, you know? It's like
She did.
in a way.
Yeah.
I'm
because
glad
she's
that
like
they're still cool new characters, even though they got rid of basically everybody.
You think she'll become an Avenger in Infinity War? You think she'll be like show up there?
I don't know if she'll be
I
an
don't know
Avenger,
about
but
that, yeah.
she has been confirmed to be in the movie. She was
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
awesome.
I didn't know about that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I hope she war machines it, like in Age of Ultron, where like she will just show up at the end and she's fighting somebody. That would be great.
Well, I
pretty
mean,
cool.
she's probably like. This isn't really spoilers. I'm pretty sure it happens based on the ending. I'm sure we're gonna get that scene where like Thanos boards the ship.
Mm-hmm.
My personal headcanon is that like he's gonna kill all the Asgardians on that ship. That's
Oh,
my
jeez.
theory.
boy.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah,
No, Korg.
exactly. Just add to the heartbreak.
Rip Korg, no.
I'm like, I'm 99% positive we're gonna get some screwed up stuff with the Infinity Stones. I'm positive we're gonna see a mass thing of people being brought back to life, or like time travel, or like some kind of contrivance that I'm probably gonna hate, but I just have to accept because of the reality bending nature. Of
Here was
them.
something I was a little disappointed in. I'm disappointed that the Soul Stone was not in Thor's hammer.
Rip the Thanos.
I'm a little disappointed in that. Just because like it made sense for that. Because how did the judge you're worthy? Well, look at your soul, because it's a soul stone, and like you could, and it would be that would like Hela kind of destroyed the hammer to get the Infinity Stone, and then she could use that to bring back her undead army. Like that fights everybody.
Could still be in Heimdall.
Could be in Heimdall. Could be. I'm just like.
Oh wow! I never even considered that. Heimdall's the Infinity Stone.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I do think they're gonna save it for Black Panther, but
they're gonna save it for Black Panther.
There's a scene in the trailer, because they showed the trailer before the movie, where it looks like he's talking to the Panther God, and so I do think that is what they're gonna do.
Yeah. They got to give some kind of overarching cinematic universe narrative for that movie. So
yeah,
it's gonna be awesome.
I get you. I want to hear from Purple and Envy. What do you guys think about other stuff?
I don't know, man. I love that movie. It was so funny and it was so like refreshing because like low key, I'm still recovering from Ninjago, so it was nice like watching a movie that like actually made. Yeah, it was like really funny, and I was like, I found myself taking notes on how to do humor that I don't remember any of them because I went to see a midnight showing. But
I would have liked to see those notes.
Yeah, maybe I'll go rewatch it, take actual notes, write them down.
Do it. This is a movie I do want to watch again. And I want to watch again with you guys too, like sync viewing. I think it'll be hilarious again.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll be as funny the second time though.
I think you're gonna find
funny.
I think you're gonna pick up on things you didn't pick up on the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's how it is. This movie just really got my humor down. Like the kind of humor I like. Just like the more I think about that last scene with Korg doing the foundation joke, and I was staring right at Thor's face as he's looking on in horror at his home being destroyed. That's just so funny to me.
I will make a bold claim.
People suffering. Yes.
I don't expect people to agree with me, but this was my funniest Marvel movie of all time.
For sure.
I think it's funnier than Guardians. Yeah,
I thought it was funnier than Guardians too.
And it also had plot stuff.
TOO. I think it's funnier than Guardians. TOO.
Yeah, I think we got that.
Sorry.
I love it so much. That's all. It's good.
Yeah, I thought about it. I think it was Var that first mentioned that he thought it was funnier than Guardians 1, and I thought about that the entire movie watching it. And Ragnarok, I mean, like, for even being the only Thor movie I've seen, jumped up to like my favorite of this year, like tied for my favorite. I thought it was just like freaking hilarious. I was laughing the entire time. Didn't even feel like I had to really know that much backstory to enjoy it, other than general Marvel movies. You didn't really feel like you had to know the other two Thor movies to enjoy it for sure. Very accessible.
Even then, they still like recapped stuff like, "Oh, Loki died in the beginning using the play."
That was a clever way of doing that, too.
You know, I didn't even think about it, but now you mentioned it. Yeah, that's a really clever way of recapping.
Huh.
Well, it's because they spent so much time in the other Thor movies with the Earth stuff. You cut out the Earth stuff. There's really a very small amount of stuff you'd even need to recap.
That's true, but like that was important to Loki's character, and I'm actually like, now that I think about it, that was a really, really clever way.
Of doing it, yeah.
Which is show exposition.
The movie does two recap events, but in very different ways. Like the play is a really clever way of doing it, but Hela giving that like exposition speech was a very non-clever way of doing it. So it's interesting that the movie clearly knows how to do it, but they just didn't do it in that one scene.
Yeah.
Anyway,
can't win them all.
Yeah.
Can't use a play for everything.
That's really cool though. Yeah, I didn't even think about that with the play. The fact that I didn't think about that is that tells you how successful that was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Recapping, because you're right. Like that was an exposition dump, like a recap.
Especially because it's been so many years since Thor 2, they had to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's really cool.
And the one thing I just love is the director's attitude towards this movie. He did an interview, not really an interview. He was on a panel about the movie. I think today or yesterday. And someone asked him like why he decided to take on such a big movie like Thor, and he answered money straight up. Because he has 2 children who cost a bunch of money. And he said, full disclosure, I've never made a superhero movie before, so I thought Marvel just didn't care anymore when they let me on. My strengths were tone, and that's it. I said, you guys can take care of the explosions. I'll focus on what I've done before. He continued, and I didn't get fired because I'm a G. I love his attitude.
But he didn't get fired because he's a what?
A G.
What's that mean?
Well, it's kind of like gangster, like kind of like he's cool.
It's cool dude.
It's G like gangster, yeah, like a straight up G, like with a capital.
Oh, okay.
Gangster with capital G, you know, the gangster.
The perfect choice for a movie like this.
You know what? When people say the OGs, they mean original gangsters. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh.
Because, like, I don't know. I hope there are more avenues for him to do more Marvel movies in the future. I'm not sure what movies those will be.
From what I've heard, Marvel is looking to work with him again, and he wants to still do stuff with Thor. I don't know what that's going to... We don't know at all what, like, the post phase... What's it? Phase 4 are we in right now? Or phase 3? Are we in phase 3?
Still 3.
Okay.
Phase 3, yeah.
We don't know anything, like, post phase 3. And it's interesting because, like...
Post Thanos is, like, a complete blank.
Yeah.
Like,
so... They could be doing. What I'm hoping is that they're going to be doing these types of movies later on, where it's like one director and they're bringing their tone to the market. Because James Gunn and Waititi and like all these other like directors have been leaving their mark on the Marvel universe, and I feel like Feige is giving them more freedom as we go forward into the future. I don't know what Captain Marvel's going to look like. Captain Marvel seems to be
Marvel is going to be like the Captain America of phase.
I think so too.
I think the idea is that the heroes of Avengers are going to be kind of like at the end of Infinity War is pretty much the end of their story, and then like as we move on, we're going to have Captain Marvel and Spider-Man and Black Panther kind of show up as the new main Avengers crew.
And I think the old Avengers will be like supporting characters in these new movies, which I really like.
But they're not going to be the main focus anymore.
No. Doctor Strange appearing in this movie was just like out of the comics. That's what would happen. Like a lot of times, if they had an issue with something with magic, they'd go like, "Hey, let's call up Doctor Strange," or if a mutant, they'd be like, "Oh, let's call Professor X," or whatever. And so, like the fact that these characters, it feels like they inhabit the same universe when you do that. And I love Doctor Strange's cameo because it legitimately felt like they were in the same world, and he happened to like he was doing his job there, and he sent them on their way, to do something that he didn't have time to do. So I love that.
If I had to give it an arbitrary number ranking, 9 out of 10. Not perfect, but the closest that I felt a Marvel movie has gotten in a while.
Yeah, I'd probably say 9.5 just because this has been I really liked
so good for Marvel movies. This year has been like pretty great. Guardians 2, I know there are some issues with it, but I still really liked it.
It was a good movie.
Love Spider-Man.
It was just
it definitely had good moments.
It's a good movie. That's about it, though.
I didn't need it this soon.
I wonder what's before we wrap up. Actually, let's do some call-ins first. I believe Prentice had a question he wanted to ask us, and also just something he wanted to say. So I'm going to add him to the call-in roll. Give me 1 second.
That feeling, I completely forgot we were supposed to do call.
Yeah, that's part of the whole deal. Sometimes. All right,
we're doing that.
Leave him call back.
Oh, is he here?
He's in the call, but he has to leave and like return.
Oh, gotcha.
Hello.
What up, Prentice?
Mardi Gras.
Hey.
The most shouted out person joins the cast. What do you got?
I feel
the most vocal.
Auden or Umatu may be above me.
Oh well, Umatu's got an edge.
Umatu's got his own kind of shout outs going, but I feel like you definitely tend to have the same like wavelength in terms of thought. So you do get shouted out a lot. Anyway,
what's up?
All right, so my question, again, because I'm kind of with you, Meso, on the whole. I think Thanos is going to wreck shop at the beginning of Infinity War, which is not good for the Asgardians. But say they somehow do make it out of that. Say there's time travel shenanigans, whatever. Maybe Thor holds off Thanos for them to escape. Whatever happens. Say the Asgardians set up shop on Earth now. Do you guys think that they will settle in Oklahoma like they do in the comics?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's a thing. Asgard gets destroyed in the comics, and Thor rebuilds Asgard in the middle of Oklahoma.
Is
I
there
had
a
no
reason?
idea that was a thing.
Yeah, no, there was a new Asgard arc
I didn't know
in the
about
comics. Yeah, and they just decided that they were going to do that post Ragnarok. That was like after Ragnarok. This is what they're just the place they decided to be in. I actually think they wouldn't do it in Oklahoma. I think they do it in wherever Odin was, because when he's like, this could be Asgard. I think
Yeah,
that's
Norway.
Oh yeah, it's Netherlands or
Norway.
something.
Yeah.
Norway.
So X could be one of the Asgardians, or he could meet one of the Asgardians.
That would be
in the
hilarious.
world of the Marvel Universe.
That makes so
He
much
gets
sense.
cast as an extra.
It's Norway.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
It's the Norse
That makes
mythology.
so much
That's
sense.
I remember
Wow.
he was like, "This is home."
I can't believe I didn't pick up on that.
Remember this
Wow.
place.
Yeah.
Nice bar.
Well, it's funny because Odin does say that this was originally where Asgard was. So, like, this is our home, and then we left. And that makes sense because if everything's true about the Norse mythology, that is what happened. And so it would be kind of interesting to see them come back to Earth and establish themselves in Norway and have like a little mini Asgard. And Sif would be there too. She would probably be there in an Agents of Shield episode. They go to
I do
Asgard
hope
in
that she
Agents of
shows up
S.H.I.E.L.D..
in season 5. They are going to space.
That is true.
Are they really?
Yeah, that was the cliffhanger at the end of season 4. Is that
I
he
haven't-
was kidnapped by someone and then it cut.
You
over
don't
and
care.
it comes
You don't
back as a
care,
person.
John. You care
I
about
don't care. I
spoilers,
don't
you're-
care. You're right. No, you're
Season
totally
finale
right.
was
If I care
back
about
in
spoilers,
April. It's been long enough.
yeah, no, you're right.
I don't care.
There's
It's
a
a very
cat,
cool direction.
remember?
If they go to Oklahoma, I guess there would be comic precedent for that. It would be kind of strange, so I hope they go to Norway instead.
Right.
I would like them to go to Oklahoma just because I live there. So
It'd be kind of
That's
cool.
pretty big.
biased. I'm kind of biased there, but
Yeah,
Makes
like they
sense
would
to me.
literally show up if it happened in the movie. It'll happen
Well, I
in
mean,
real
they could
life,
film
right?
it there. They could film it there, and you could be an extra. That could be something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When does
Probably,
that happen?
probably won't though. It's funny because they filmed Heroes at my hometown, or they didn't film. Heroes took place in my hometown. The new Heroes Reborn takes place in Carmondale, Illinois, which is like my hometown, where nothing ever happens. And they didn't film it there, so everyone's disappointed.
Rest
yeah,
in
they'll
peace.
probably film somewhere in Georgia and call it Norway.
Yeah,
True.
right. You did point something else in this chat, Prentice. Actually, that was I found lends credence to my theory, and that is
boy.
as Thor is going through the thing where they're introducing the Grandmaster, they play Pure Imagination
From Willy Wonka.
from Willy Wonka. And it's part of their presentation, the aliens presentation. So why are they using the Earth?
Yeah, how would they have that music?
Yeah, exactly. Because and that's also why like everyone knows about like whenever like Star-Lord listens to music, no one's like that's really weird, and they're able to find other like Zunes and stuff that have Earth music on it.
Makes sense.
That's what I think. I don't know. I'm just a crackpot theory of mine. But
Such crackpot.
Like in Guardians 1, they seem to know of Earth. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you come from Earth. We know where that is. It's not like this thing is like, wait, we've never heard of this
Yeah.
planet. They have some knowledge of it.
yeah, and probably through the music. I think like that music has gone around. Everyone loves that 80s stuff,
But John,
Yeah.
Willy Wonka is in the 70s.
Oh,
I
got
mean,
him!
Whoa.
Got
okay.
him!
Oh no.
Radio
That's
But music,
That's my magic
music
belt.
from
That was-
before then.
Get wrecked, son!
Oh boy.
If Thor gets his magic belt, he can stop
Maybe-
Thanos
maybe-
from
it's
killing
because,
the Guardians.
Sakaar is so far, like way, way, way far, so they're only getting 70s beams while everyone else is getting 80s.
Far.
But Var,
And, time
Sakaar
was
is so
weird
far.
anyway.
Did you butt var yourself? Did you like
Yeah,
address
I
yourself?
did. Well, I did that like as if I was speaking for you.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
why.
all right, thank you. All right.
Yeah. I was
All right.
rhyming for you. Like
Thanks.
you're like Rice Gum, and I'm doing your raps for you.
Oh, boy.
Oh man. Okay, throwing that shade. All right, Adubs. Prentice, thanks for coming on, and thanks for being a supporter and a guy who gets shouted out all the time. Thanks for like
You're a cool
saying
guy.
stuff that
Keep
we
doing,
like.
Keep doing your stuff.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for liking the stuff I say.
Don't disappoint us.
Yeah.
Farewell.
No pressure.
All the pressure.
Later, princess.
Did you say princess?
No,
I heard
I said
princess.
princess.
Oh, I heard princess. I was like,
I
what?
feel like you're
Princess
hearing
went
what you
to-
want to hear.
What?
I feel like you're just hearing what you want to hear.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
I mean, wait, is that a reference or something?
No, I'm just talking about you. I'm insulting you.
You just always hear what you want to hear.
Me.
And I'm like, hey, I'm free today, and you're like, hey, do you want to work on something for me? That's what you hear.
Oh boy.
Ha 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 ha.
Alright.
Before we
What
wrap
is our
up,
next column?
yeah,
Is
I
this
want
our only column?
possibly. People, a lot. I guess this is a thing where like not a lot of people have not seen Thor yet. So like there were a lot more people wanting to listen to the stream, and then they found it was a Thor stream, and like it's rough because like I want to talk about movies, and all of us like love the Marvel movies, and we all go and see them, and we all want to talk about them. But like
They are the common denominator of films.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like it's
Marvel
not-
movies,
some
DC
people
movies,
are-
and for
are
some
gonna see
reason
it.
Transformers movies. We're all pretty like.
For some
Can I talk about like the disaster that was the last night? I was like that.
Oh my god.
we can, sure talk about anything. Sure.
It
Kind of
was
live
the
stream. Go for it.
absolute like worst plot of any movie that I've seen recently.
What
And
plot?
And because
I'm
of
so
that,
glad I
it
didn't watch
managed
that
to
with
be
you.
more like entertaining than Age of Extinction. Simply because of like Age of Extinction, I was in physical pain. I wanted to die. It's the only movie I've gotten like a headache in midway.
Yeah, that
through
one was
because of
boring.
stupidity.
That one was boring.
Last night was not boring. Last night was awesome. Because of how ridiculous it was. It is completely detached from any semblance of reality. I don't know what happened to that movie. It was a train wreck from start to finish.
Oh my goodness.
0 cents.
Nice.
That's all. Any other Collins?
Collins?
I think
Purple, shut up.
Good grief. we do have one other Colin here as well, so we'll talk about this, right?
Oh, you actually did say Colin?
Yes, Purple.
Yes.
All in sounds like the word, like the name Colin. Yes, they sound the
Colin.
same.
Yes, we have another Colin that was donated to us.
Ew.
Okay, PL Car, if you want to.
So many people misspell cologne as colon. So it's really
That's
funny
so
when they
sad.
Oh, you
like
mean
the smell of
Cologny?
someone's
Cologny?
Yeah.
I love the smell of someone's
Cologny.
colon.
What up?
I didn't give you guys permission to use my colon.
Uh-oh.
Oh gosh.
All right.
I'm calling the police, but yeah. Anyway,
Copyright.
My-
take
That's
down
nice for the
Cole.
hospital.
my question was: do you think that after the final Avengers film, the MCU will end? Because I've
Nope.
somehow seen
Nope.
that some people think that.
One word. Money.
Yeah, that's my philosophy in life. Holla holla get dollar. And I think they
The
should subscribe to that too.
MCU might metaphorically die for some people. I feel like, depending on how they handle it, if they're going to do like MCU 2 with new characters, a lot of people might not necessarily be on board with it. But I don't think they're going to stop making movies.
Nope.
MCU 2 featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
Let's do it. No, totally down.
And
You know,
Knuckles and Knuckles.
They've sunk too much time into this franchise. It's still lucrative. I think we will at some point see superhero fatigue when it's over. At some point,
It's happening, but
I know there's some
It's
people
happening.
like Fwef's already fallen off. I don't think we're there yet. And so long as the movies continue to be even moderately successful, I don't think they're going anywhere.
I think it's also because like the movies when they started to feel stale, then they started doing stuff new with them. Thor 3, like the movies I was possibly getting tired of, and I think Flef is tired of, is Thor 2. Like if Thor 2 came out today, she'd be like, "Oh, it's just another Marvel movie. I'm tired of them. I don't want to see them." Thor
But
3
they've taken
is a
steps
unique.
to prevent that.
Yeah, they're trying to expand outwards. I felt Spider-Man was a step in that direction. I felt Thor was a step in the direction.
All Marvel movies recently have a very distinct tone or subgenre associated with them that separates them from being a superhero movie, and the ones that are just a traditional superhero movie still have some kind of hook to them, typically involving cameos from other characters or team-ups that you want to see. It's some kind of added factor to get viewers to tune in,
It is.
and I don't think that's going anywhere.
It's the number one franchise in the world. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is the number one franchise in the world because they're outpacing everyone because they're doing 3 movies a year. There's 3 superhero movies a year. They're all Marvel, and Marvel has not made a bad movie yet. Everyone rates their movies very highly. So no, I really don't think they're going to end just because it's literally a cash-making money for
But
Disney.
John, they have made a bad movie. Inhumans IMAX.
Hey, that's the
I
thing.
don't talk about that.
They aired Inhumans as an IMAX movie.
Don't talk about that. So
Oh boy.
What?
They combined the first 2 episodes and aired it in IMAX theaters. That was a thing. It aired as like a movie. It's because it was initially supposed to be a movie, but they had I guess decided to still try that out, and it was, it was a complete
remind me
disaster.
of how sad I am.
Oh my god.
what would I am really curious to go into this alternate timeline where Sony didn't give the rights to Spider-Man back to
Oh,
see what the
no.
Inhumans movie would have been like.
I really want to see what that would have like.
It would have been really good. Actually, no, it would have been just Thor 1 all over again, I think, with better CGI.
Well, I mean, I do think that Feige would have found somebody that would like have done something interesting with them. But like it would be definitely better than the TV show. TV show, by all accounts, is garbage. And we watched the first 2 episodes.
What?
I never finished the first 2 episodes.
Okay, you should.
I'm not gonna watch it.
You should, Vart. It's so bad.
Hey, Var,
so
let's watch
bad.
it together.
Okay, I might watch it if you're watching it with me. Yeah.
Yay.
Anyway. No,
Upload to like Dropbox or something.
How about you upload it? Oh, okay. Messa will.
Yeah, I take dibs.
Cool.
You really want to see Inhumans.
I do.
Oh, I'm not gonna watch it with you, Messa.
What?
I never mentioned you. I wanted to watch it with Purple.
First the Joe, now this. You hate me, Var.
Everybody hates Meso secretly.
Aww.
Anyway,
it is true.
Will not.
No.
I mean, Purple, you hate Messa. You were just talking about how much you hated Messa the other day.
No, I didn't.
The
Oh wait, Meso, I still need to cuss you out.
Yeah, exactly.
She does hate you.
Wow.
That's hilarious. I was actually just like pulling that out of my butt. I didn't actually. But I love that it actually worked out.
Oh boy.
Gosh.
It's just part of life.
This is how I tear apart TTV one by one.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
Full action.
He's like causing our downfall. He's like the Loki of our Avengers group. All right, hey, thanks so much, PLCar, for being around, donating to us, doing a lot of great stuff. We will see you guys hopefully next time.
You're welcome, and I really hope for another game night someday.
You wish.
I want to do a game night in a free game that I like to play. There are no free games I like to play.
Fortnite.
I like how you can't win. It's we were like, oh, I really want. They were like, I really want a live stream. Okay, cool, live stream. Now on the live stream, I'm like, I really want another game night.
Compromise. We live stream a game night.
We're always the second behind.
Oh, we could do competitive Overwatch and like we'll have someone broadcasting.
Dude, I missed the frickin' Egypt icon. Apparently, Season 6 had like it was all Egyptian themed, but I never actually did my placement matches.
You should have done it with me.
I did.
Man, that's making enemies.
What is it?
He told you to cry more.
He's like, oh, I got the world's
Can't say
smallest
what I
violin.
want to say.
Well, you will in a
Just
second.
do it, Purple. Just let loose. Just curse him out.
Go for it. Go for it.
He deserves it.
No.
I feel like
the friend children.
I feel like the little devil on your shoulder telling you to like do the bad things. Like, yes, curse him out.
No. If anything, it's like, hey, don't forget to do that later.
Wait, is there a reason why you won't do it? And is that reason?
It's a swear word. I'm not going to say that.
No, I mean, like, is there an extra reason? Did you guys talk about that? I forget if you talked about that on the podcast or not.
What?
Okay, never mind. No, forget about it. That's my bad.
No, explain it.
Wait, I didn't listen to what you were saying.
We have a new Patreon. I don't know if you've made it public knowledge though.
Oh, my mom?
Okay, did you talk about that on the podcast? I forget if you did or not. If you wanted
Meso freaking shouted her out and completely butchered the pronunciation of her name.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was just gonna,
the sweet sound of hypocrisy on the wind pronunciation.
Wait, what?
So
like I was saying, do you not want to swear because your mom's listening in? That's what I was trying to get at.
I didn't know what she was laughing at.
It just occurred to me that I didn't get it because like I thought it was about pronounce, but like
it's pronunciation.
I thought I said you didn't even pronounce it right. When did I say pronunciation or pronunciation?
You said pronunciation in a sentence, calling me out for mispronouncing a word.
I didn't catch that.
Cretin.
You cretin.
I love that though. Just laughing really hard at something and then halfway through
being
like, wait, I just realized I didn't get it.
It's like, wait, I just realized I don't think I understood it completely.
You're a comedic soul.
Oh, Purple. You're definitely something. One last topic before we wrap up today. Do you guys think Thor Ragnarok is going to do better than Justice League? Yes or no?
Oh, I don't know. I
pray for that.
I actually don't think so.
I don't either. It just has more name
That's what I'm thinking.
Thor's
Justice
gotten
League
off
is
to
a
a
big
good
movie.
start, though.
Like,
Thor is
like
doing better.
The DC universe is like, I mean, obviously, I don't think it's as good as the Marvel universe, but like, I mean, it's still at the end of the day, Batman meeting Superman and Wonder Woman, you know, all in one
Right.
movie with Cyborg and the Flash and everything. Like, that's crazy.
Wonder Woman
And
did really
Aquaman
well.
and
yeah.
yeah, like I don't know, man. I feel like that'll still do better.
It will
But-
backpack off of the characters and the success of Wonder Woman.
And also, actually, now that I think about it, I don't like the DC movies aren't our thing, obviously, but they do pretty good financially.
Quite.
They
So.
do. Suicide Squad did very well financially for being a garbage. Everyone I feel like everyone agreed that Suicide Squad was garbage, but everyone also went and saw it. So it was a weird thing that happened. I love that like Suicide Squad made more money than Ninjago too. That was great.
The great tragedy of Darth Leto, the wise.
Thor Ragnarok had a great opening weekend, and it's doing way better than people thought. But Justice League, it depends on the reviews. If the reviews are bad, the negative buzz from
They
Batman and Superman
had
might
they had
carry
a
over.
press screening for Justice League, and for the first time ever, they put a strict embargo on Twitter impressions.
Oh
They-
boy.
And
They did not
I
want
think
that.
That's never a good sign.
I don't want to be an alarmist, but just saying.
That's never a good sign.
That's gonna be the headlines are gonna be big. Joss Whedon might get his name on all the headlines, being like, "Oh man, even Joss Whedon, you know,
I don't know.
poor guy."
I know
Now
this
can't
is
do
gonna go
anything to
down
save the
bad
train
for
wreck.
him.
Yeah, it would take
Anyway.
a miracle for that movie to be good. Anyway,
Before we end, I just want to once again swoon over Kate Blanchett and Hela. She was
boy.
definitely the best part.
Dude.
I love her. She's so
One
pretty.
of my friends was like, "Oh, I can't lie, she's pretty hot." Like the fact that he had to like come to this admit of it, it was pretty
Huge-
funny. It was like,
She just had this really cool swagger about her, dude. She's so cool. Oh my god.
throwing those spikes.
Throwing those spikes, that like
Okay.
swagger walk, she's like that confident evil walk. Oh,
I will say, like, she's the god of death, but like, she might as well just be the god of pointy blades.
Hey, I mean, if it causes
same
death,
thing. Yeah, it's causing death.
I don't know. Like, I expected at some point for her to do
Death
some
is
kind
death.
of like shadow thing or fly or
She's not the god of shadows. She's
or
the
do
god of death,
basically
dude.
anything other than like throw swords. But
Well, I mean, okay, here we go, right?
I
So
think
she's the
she's-
god of death.
Mhm.
She's the god of death, but her swords facilitate death,
Mhm.
right? Thor is the god of thunder, but his hammer facilitated his thunder. So he's not the god of hammers, but you know, it still helped him out.
it's a very good point.
It's true.
There you go.
It's true. To be fair, actually, I feel like the
God of
hammer did
hammers.
lightning more than thunder.
Oh yeah, well, it
It's
doesn't
funny that
matter.
he's telling the god of thunder, but like lightning seems to be his big power. Like that's how he shows that
Right.
he's like super powered, right?
Whatever, dude. Thunder and lightning, same thing.
There was
he
something
just
else.
makes really cool sounds.
Okay.
I did. You know, I
So-
was a little disappointed that at the beginning they played what's it? Foreigner song? What's it called? Or
The
what's that
immigrant song.
called? Immigrant song,
Immigrant song.
right? They, at the end, I kind of really wanted them to play Thunderstruck, and they didn't. And I was a little
I
sad
didn't even
about
think
that.
of that.
I was like, oh, they would have been awesome for like Thor to go, you know, like crazy to the theme of Thunderstruck. But anyhow, Immigrant Song is still also a really good one. Also, when did that come out?
When
The
did
immigrant
what?
song?
Yeah.
Like in the 70s? Like
Okay.
Yeah, 1970.
There we go. There we go.
Now, one of my
Okay.
final
One year
questions.
before the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
One of the final questions I will raise is it's been a hot topic for a long time, ever since it was announced Hela was going to be in this movie and the role she was going to have. Will she act as Lady Death in Infinity War? Do we think so? Calling it on bets now. Yes or
now?
no?
I
Or
don't
are they
know.
going to go a different route?
I don't know,
Because
actually. I
that's
don't think
Thanos'
Hela...
big thing in the comics.
You're right. You're right. And Hela, I don't know. She is the god of death. They did confirm that. I don't know if they might. That would be really cool, I feel. But the character of Hela and the character of Thanos were very... she does not fit the character of Death in Infinity War.
Nope. The moment they mentioned that she'd been locked up and only got freed when Odin died, I was like, well, that theory's DOA.
No, I don't think so, actually. I think that's a big deal. I think
I'd
that's
be
why
like-
Thanos is moving right now. Why hasn't he come to Earth beforehand? It's because Death is now free, and now he has a chance to impress his bride. Sorry, go on.
I guess.
Say that.
I was like, I guess they would have never met or known of each other before now, I guess.
Hela is
That's how I
Thanos'
interpreted it.
bride?
In
Death.
in the
Death
comic.
is.
The theory is that
Oh,
Hela will act as Lady Death.
got you.
Wasn't Deadpool also married to Death or something?
Yes, he was, but this different universe doesn't really.
Yeah,
They
purple.
don't exist in this universe.
All through continuity.
No, I mean, no, that's a good thing to point out. It is true.
It is true, and actually, Thanos kept taking Deadpool away from Death. Like, he was mad. He felt like Death was cheating on him in some versions of the comic.
That's great.
Well, you see.
Well, you see, what had happened was. All right. Well,
Yeah,
I feel
okay.
like that's about it for all of this. Did anyone have any last thoughts? Any last things you want to say about Thor Ragnarok?
They just
Great
trade
move.
off Death every other weekend.
Random thing. Did you know the director was Cord?
Yeah, I actually forgot to mention that.
didn't.
Yeah, the director was the
Director was what?
Because his
Oh, yeah.
his accent did remind me of like a New Zealand. So I was like, that's cool. I liked his accent. It was pretty funny. Contributed to the character a lot.
Pretty awesome, dude.
But oh yeah, one thing I did. Just one last thing. I really liked that most of it was improv. I think that's what really contributed to the nature of the jokes, was just that they could just make it up on the spot.
Yep. And even the parts that weren't, it felt like that. It had a very unique comedic tone.
Iron Man had the same thing.
Yep.
Interesting. I actually didn't know that about it being improv. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
you
said
know,
like
that's-
80% was.
Improv? Man, that's great. No wonder it feels so great. Jeff Goldblum, man. That guy, I just like in that one scene where like Valkyrie like kisses him on the cheek and he like kind of like, oh, he like blushes and like shakes his head. I'm like, oh, perfect. That's so great.
One other thing, comment by the Mockingbird. How much better was Thor than the Legend Reborn? Only slightly.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
Spoiler.
It's kind of hard contest.
I think the improv pushes it over, but I think it's pretty close otherwise.
They're pretty similar thematically. And
Right.
The Legendary Born even a movie? Is it even fair to consider that a film?
Yes.
I mean, it's like a Matsunui's Planet Tuma arc.
Oh man, that's great.
Well, that'll be that, guys.
Tuba like raging fire, Matanui like smoldering fire.
All right.
All right.
Get out of here.
It's
Yeah.
a Bionicle joke in case you don't get it, Purple.
You didn't laugh at all. Okay, fine.
Sorry, I
see
was
that.
like preoccupied by something.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Far be it from you for distracting from your
better
job. Yeah. I'm sure you have so much
Final
going on.
comment. I really
Go for it.
appreciated Thor not falling for Loki's obvious betrayal. Character growth. I like it.
I really appreciate Thor's shorter hair.
Say.
Yeah, I do
It
actually
was
like
so
it.
cool. Good change.
A lot of the girls I know do not like it. They like him with the longer hair.
Yeah, I went
just saying.
to see the movie with my friend,
Oh.
and she was like, "Oh, I like him better with the long hair." I'm just like, "What are you talking about?"
Dude, you
Ow.
look way better with the short hair,
He
man.
did. He had a shirtless scene. He has a shirtless scene in every Thor movie. We had a shirtless scene in this movie.
This one
too.
was this one was really blatant, by the way.
Yeah.
Like they had like 5 different camera angles that
Yeah,
they kept
they're like-
switching to.
There was like that.
And I can't
I felt that
complain.
I felt that they should be playing "Sexy and I Know It" in the background. You know, like, look at his body.
Loki's the
That's
next
not
one who
making
needs a new hairstyle. It was
Yes.
particularly greasy, this movie. I don't know if anybody noticed. It looked really bad in a few scenes. Looked like he had showered in like a month.
Fangirls love Loki though. They love him. They like.
I mean,
I
they-
like his personality.
maybe not.
No,
his
I think
hair,
that I think they like him. They like him. They
It was
like his
nowhere near as
personality and
bad
him.
in the other
And him.
movies, though. Like,
Well, I saw it with my roommate and some other friends, and my roommate said my first thought was Tommy Wiseau.
yeah, that's what
Tom
he looked
Hiddleston
like.
would have been a great Tommy Wiseau. Oh man.
Oh,
No,
hi,
dude,
Thor.
I mean, I've seen plenty of Tumblr posts that a lot
I
of
did
people
not trick her.
Oh.
It's not
Listen,
Girls are thirsty
I did not trick
for
her. I did not.
Tom Hiddleston.
Oh,
yeah,
hi, Thor.
it's not just the personality. I don't get
No,
it
we
either,
did the
but it's
first
not
time,
just.
so it was okay.
No, he was
Yeah.
he was following up on my quote. Sorry.
Oh, okay. We're gonna. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I thought the movie.
One final comment. No, I'm kidding.
I thought the movie was good.
One final comment. Let me think of one. Hold on.
That's all right.
Okay. It's a
It's okay.
It's okay.
It
Maybe go see it. It's all right.
was okay. It was okay.
I think it's like the start of a new trilogy almost. Like I felt like the movie was a giant like middle finger to the other four movies, you know, where it's like, oh yeah, you like these characters? They're dead now. They're all they're all gone.
Rip Darcy.
All the Earth
You
characters
know-
are dead. Most of the Asgard characters are dead.
Of all the characters for Doctor Strange to have his cameo in, this movie worked pretty well because I feel like if it was like Captain America, for instance, who
Too
Doctor
overt.
Strange just randomly teleported into it would be like questioning the situation. But it's just so appropriate for Thor to not question what was going on at all, just be like, "Wizard, where is Odin?" And not like, "Who are you? How did you take me here? What's going on?" Just, "Where did Odin go? Okay, thank you," and then bye. And just never question that ever again.
One actual final comment. I understand why the Warriors 3 died. I wish they had died at the same time. It felt very strange to have two of them go without any kind of a fight
Without any fight,
whatsoever.
yeah, especially like
And then the third guy to have this prolonged, like, defiant death and fight scene. They should have just all been in that scene.
that
Like,
is
why-
really true. Yeah.
Why did
they,
two of them need to be sacrificed?
they could have done something with the Asian dude has always been like a part of it. Like if they had the Robin Hood dude die because he was always like, you know.
Yeah.
But like who's it?
I'll be
the
honest,
fat
I didn't
dude?
realize the Asian dude was even one of the Warriors 3.
No,
Honestly,
he was
yeah.
the only non-generic soldier guy in that whole battle. So
Yeah, I just kind of assumed he was just a dude who was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a dude here in Asgard. I'm
He's
important."
in Thor 1. There's a whole thing about his planet in Thor 1 or his realm.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I mean, so I don't know.
I know.
That's all. Let's end.
All right. Thank
Maybe
you
I will end
guys. Thank you guys for listening to our live stream of the reviews Thor Ragnarok.
Nintendo sucks.
No.
As always, you can direct your hate to @IllustriousVar on Twitter. Direct all your hate towards that Twitter account.
Let me see
And not
those
us.
dislikes.
That was a really passionate thing. Like,
Boy, the people are Nintendo fans. They really care.
it's all comedy, guys. Don't.
Oh, we got one.
Just a
Don't take
prank,
it-
bro.
I need some more, guys. Come on, give me more dislikes.
Don't take it so personal.
We'll see you guys next time for one of our live streams. Goodbye.
Just
See
a
ya.
hype question mark.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, you never know. Justice League. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and.